What is up, Steelers Nation? Thank you so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. I'm Noah Strackbine, joined always by my main man, Jacob Punturi. Find us on youtube.com/All Steelers Talkers. Subscribe anywhere you get your podcast. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they had until 4 minutes ago to make anything happen, anything at all. They did nothing. Mike Tomlin goes to the podium 4 hours ago, has a smile on his face that gets everybody excited, thinking something is going to happen. There is a trick up someone's sleeve, and the Pittsburgh Steelers walk away as empty-handed as they possibly can. Meanwhile, they watch the rest of the NFL make move after move after move in the third busiest trade deadline day of all time. One that the Steelers were not involved in. We're diving into where the Steelers stood, how close they actually got to a trade, some wild rumors that were floating around there, and another example of maybe why you shouldn't listen to Mike Tomlin most days. It's a good one here in the Berg. Still, the Steelers play football on Sunday. They are 5-3. There are positives to look at, but today we highlight the trade deadline. How you feel, my friend?
I'm mad, dude. What a waste. What a waste of a day. What a waste of an anticipation and weekend. It's a beautiful day in the Berg, right? Had a wonderful lunch with my dad. What more can you ask for, right? I'm like, this is going to be great. We're going to get to come on the pod, talk about how the Steelers really pushed all the chips in the center of the table here. They're going all in. Nothing. The official signing of MVS. Oh, Lord, I'm so glad we got there. We are going to see the promised land of a playoff win now. I am feeling it in my bones. So I am just thrilled, happy to be here after this eventful day.
I'm glad. I did send a good message to you and our buddy Jack Markowski this morning. It's trade deadline day, boys. Things are about to get crazy. And they did not. I will take you all through my day and where the Pittsburgh Steelers nearly landed and what I was hearing throughout the day, because I feel that it's important. And I also feel that you will all look at it and go, what in the actual hell is happening here? My morning started with an easy Marvin Harrison Jr. rumor about how the Pittsburgh Steelers made a phone call to the Arizona Cardinals. I reached out to a source within the Pittsburgh Steelers to say, how true is this? Because in my head, it was, oh, we're starting hot today. I didn't even have my coffee yet. We're ready to go. I take that back. I didn't have my third coffee yet. We're getting ready to go. This is the quote I was given. Quote, I'm not going to speculate on, or I'm not going to specifically comment on every rumor or leak, but I will say we are an organization committed to winning and winning now, and no stone will go unturned in the search of a player we feel can get us to our goals set by an amazing owner and fantastic fans. You look back at that quote right now, and it tells me I don't know what stones they were turning, but it seems as if there was nothing underneath them. And the Steelers walked away going, I don't know where the Seattle Seahawks and the Jacksonville Jaguars were looking and where their stones were, but our stones didn't seem to have a damn thing under them. Not a single thing. Let's start with the misses here. Jacoby Meyers goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars for a 4th and a 5th round pick. It was reported that they were originally looking for a 3rd. I said that yesterday here, that they were looking for a 2nd or a 3rd. Way too high of a price tag. He ends up going for a 4th and a 5th to the Jacksonville Jaguars, of all teams. What would you have made? I mean, the Steelers were reportedly outbid here for Jacoby Meyers, that they were not willing to go a 4th and a 5th. Would you have gone a 4th and a 5th? Is that where you would have called it quits? Or do you think that the Pittsburgh Steelers made the right move saying, we're good. That's out of our ballpark for a reliable wide receiver. We just can't do that right now.
I don't have a problem with turning down that offer in a nutshell. I have a problem with it when you look at the totality of what happened today. And yes, I think a term you can apply to the trades that happened were overpayments, but it's trade deadline day and the prices are at an absolute premium for trying to upgrade your team. That's just going to happen. If the Steelers passed on that move, but then were able to get equal value for less draft picks going out the door, then
Yeah.
of course it all makes sense why they were okay with being outbid by the Jacksonville Jaguars. But now the fact remains that they have to go through their remaining 9 games. Yeah, 9 games left.
Yes. Yes.
The same wide receiver group that is one injury away from being a high school JV team. And you're telling me that you could not have found a way to just give up an extra pick somewhere and just find that extra player? You're really okay with just adding Marquez Valdes-Scantling as the only addition? Again, I'm okay with turning down this trade of 4th and a 5th for Jacoby Meyers. Like, do you really want to give up 2 draft picks when you are stockpiling and you seem to have a good grasp on those middle rounds? But man, it just feels like what a swing and a miss in the totality of the day. And if you could have just outbid the Jaguars, why not do it? I don't know. Would you have done it?
Yes, yes, I would have done it. It's a 4th and a 5th round pick for you to say we have a legitimate shot to win a Super Bowl. Yeah, I would have done it, because when you end up with the next Isaiah Loudermilk and Anthony McFarland in the 2026 NFL draft, you're going to be sitting around going, "Oh man, dude, we really needed those 4th and those 5th round picks." No, you didn't. There's nothing about them that says that you need them right now. You're going to get extras. That's the craziest part of the whole situation, is Russell Wilson is going to give you an extra 4th round pick or 5th round pick. Justin Fields is going to give you an extra 4th round pick. You have them coming back in comp picks, and you are sitting here saying a little bit too pricey. Can't go as high as a 4th and a 5th. Are you nervous that the Raiders, were they just like, no, can't give them to the Steelers? No chance about that one. That hurts our chances of winning the Super Bowl this year. No, I would outbid. There's no questions asked. I would have given up a 4th and a 5th. Wouldn't even have thought about it whatsoever. That would have, in the moment, once I realized nothing else was happening, yep, sounds good, because Rashid Shaheed goes to the Seattle Seahawks for, I believe, a 4th and a 6th. And I take that back. I think Jacoby was a 4th and a 6th, and Rashid was a 4th and a 5th, which makes it even crazier, because I would have given up a 6th in my sleep for Jacoby Meyers on trade deadline day. A week ago, no. On trade deadline day, yes. Easy. You look at Rashid Shaheed, he goes 4th and a 5th. That one stunned a lot of us to go to Seattle. Do you feel any differently about him?
No, again, I don't. It's the same sort of answer. Like, in a nutshell, I don't disagree with the Steelers balking at the price being offered. I also just think, at the same time, the fact that the Seattle Seahawks were desperate enough to recognize that they have an opportunity to really take hold in the NFC West and maybe go on an unlikely run. Yeah, it's worth giving up a 4th and a 5th round pick, to your point a second ago. So I look at Rashid Shaheed. Do I think he is worth 2 draft picks for a rental? No, I don't think that. And you can't really prove that to me otherwise. You're not going to argue against that in my mind. That being said, in order to win, in order to you have to give up something. If at the end of the day you are able to go to an AFC championship and all you lost is 2 mid-round draft picks, I am great with that. I think 2 things can be true here. Like, Rashid Shaheed is not worth both of these draft picks in a just one for one looking at how this trade value works. It also can be true that this is a great move that a team with championship and winning ambitions would and should do. And the fact that the Steelers refuse to do so, I think, is the alarming part in all of that. Not that they were outbid for certain players, not that maybe they balked at 1 or 2 trade offers. It's the fact that they did nothing that you would expect a championship or winning team to do on deadline day. Kyle Duggar is not an answer. So
no, Kyle Duggar was a replacement to Deshaun Elliott because Deshaun Elliott got hurt. That was not the splash that you needed if you were the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that's an exact point here. The Seattle Seahawks made a move to say, how do we get over the top? How do we become Super Bowl, legitimate Super Bowl contenders? And the Pittsburgh Steelers said, nah, we're probably okay. We're fine. No big deal. I think we're okay. I think we're going to float this one out and we'll make a move. Do you think that they called the Miami Dolphins and would you have today, seeing how things turned out, given up that first round pick for Jalen Waddle? You know my answer. I want to hear yours.
No, a first round pick? No, I can't do that. I think that it is too important to the long term outlook for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But it does make me kind of wonder, were the Steelers putting all of their eggs in one basket versus for a Jalen Waddle? And I am just purely speculating at this point, post NFL trade deadline. Why then were uh they were so okay with being outbid for Jacoby Meyers? They didn't even seem to have any calls in on deadline day for Rashid Shaheed. Why is that? Did they think they had another avenue open? Did they think that this situation with the Miami Dolphins was going to fall in their favor so much so that they were going to land Jalen Waddle for maybe a second round pick? Again, purely speculation. I can't help but to think the fact that they were so willing to let these other situations fall by the wayside, they either are so stubbornly set on this group of wide receivers, which makes no sense to me, or they had another solution that fell through and we are not going to hear about it for the next little bit.
I think there has to be, because this is a great time to bring up what Mike Tomlin said as he smiled at all of us and said, you know, what time's the deadline? 4:00. Keep watching. I like shopping. To me, that was the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to get another wide receiver. I think you took it that way. I think everybody else took it that way, that the Steelers were looking at this and saying, and he brushed off MVS in 2 seconds. 2 seconds. So much so that he had a practice squatter. So much so that he broke character on the Kyle Duggar thing, because he went about Kyle Duggar and downplayed Kyle Duggar and his impact on the game on Sunday for 10 minutes. And then was asked about MVS and broke character and said, this isn't a Kyle Duggar situation. Like, that's how much he tried to downplay the situation and upplay the possibility of a trade that in my head, they had to have had something. They had to have something. There's no way that the Steelers went until 4:00, said Jacoby's off the board, Rashid's off the board. We'll just hang out. We've been calling teams since April, but we'll just hang out. I mean, go through the list here. The Pittsburgh Steelers called the Saints in January to say, is Chris Olave available? They ended up with DK Metcalf. They traded George Pickens away. They called the Washington Commanders for Terry McLaurin. They called the Miami Dolphins for Jalen Waddle. They called the Tennessee Titans for Calvin Ridley, the Las Vegas Raiders for Jacoby Meyers. Like, there's no chance in my head that they just all of a sudden stopped at 1 p.m. and just said, like, nah, we're good. I think we tried. I'm exhausted. Fingers are cramping. It's time to hang up the phone. No, I don't look at this and say that the Steelers didn't try. I look at this and say the Steelers missed. So I'll ask you, one big question here. Like, what's the blame? What's the impact of missing? Like, did the Steelers in your eyes just go, well, all in season's out the door now because we did nothing? Does that leave your mind?
The thought absolutely occurs. Does it take over as the reigning thought? Not quite yet. I think the sentiment from the Steelers locker room is going to be, this is not anything that's going to affect us or impact us. We love the guys in the room. We're confident in this group. Blah, blah, blah. Hurrah, hurrah, hurrah. Yeah, a championship team knows when they have deficiencies, whenever they are weak at a certain position or vulnerable in certain areas. They know what their weaknesses are in general, and they try to fix them. This team either does not know what they are, which is very, very troubling, or is so stubborn that they do not think they needed to upgrade it with outside personnel help, which again is a very troubling way to look at this team. You can say, oh, week 9 is when everything turned it all around. And maybe, just maybe, at the end of the regular season, we can look back retrospectively and say, yeah, that was the turning point for this team. And I could be dead wrong. But every other situation, the other 7 games the Steelers have played so far this year, illustrate very clearly that they have many, many holes in their lineup that needed to be improved before they would be a legitimate Super Bowl contender. So why, oh, why did you not try to actually achieve that? Why, oh, why did you not do that? It boggles the mind, dude. It boggles the mind. So it takes me back to this place where I'm like, yeah, they're not serious contenders. They might even win the AFC North at this point because it's a dog poop race. There's no, you're fighting against the under 500 Ravens for the AFC North right now. You probably feel too comfortable in your position, but boy, oh boy, they're not a Super Bowl contender. And maybe, just maybe, a move or two could have put them over the top to be that way, but that's not the case now.
No, this was the end of it. And it needed to be a wide receiver. We're going to talk about Asante Samuel Jr. here in a moment, but like it needed to be a wide receiver. It needed to be one of the somebodies out there. And there was a nobody. How long until MVS is on this team? How long until MVS is wide receiver 3 for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Oh God. Probably pretty soon. I will say credit to Mike Tomlin. I don't know if he just was like in a funny, silly guy mood today at his press conference, or
100%. He walked in there. He was like, "I ain't gonna do nothing, but I'm gonna get everybody to think that I'm gonna do something." That's Mike Tomlin's greatest day. Greatest day.
And he played the part perfectly, to his credit, because everything about what he was saying today was just pure comedy. But even though he described MVS as a practice squad player for right now, the need for depth at wide receiver clearly still exists. They are going to have to dip into the well here very soon. It might be as soon as next week. I don't anticipate seeing him against the Chargers, obviously, but after that, maybe. And I think maybe the week after that, there's a very strong possibility we're seeing MVS involved as much as the third or fourth option. I will say it seemed like Mike Tomlin gave a bit of a vote of confidence to Roman Wilson, despite calling his fumble a boneheaded, ball security play. But it seemed like he was impressed with everything else nonetheless. Seemed to slightly indicate to me that maybe there isn't a total benching for Roman Wilson on the horizon. But, all that said, I still think Marquez Valdes-Scantling is going to make an impact on this team sooner rather than later. Yeah. Boy, I'm pumped. Look how pumped I am.
So excited. I'll make a bold prediction here. Let me look it up as we're talking. Or actually, can you, so that I don't get all aggy and crazy here?
Of course.
Let me know who the Steelers second leading receiver is. I believe it's Jaylen Warren still.
Yeah, I will let you know in a second. My guess is Pat Freiermuth.
Could be Pat at this point. Could definitely be Pat at this point in the season. I would love if it's Darnell. That would be awesome. Tight end 1. Here's my bold prediction that by the end of the season, the Steelers' second leading receiver on this team is going to be MVS. And it's going to be somewhere in the mark of 395 yards, somewhere in that ballpark. And it's not going to be fun. But that's what's going to happen to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Go ahead, tell me what it is.
So, of course, DK Metcalf is number 1. Pat Freiermuth is number 2, 227 yards. He is not the second most targeted, though. The second most targeted remains Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith is very low. He is 5th in receiving yards with 159.
I was going to say, did he even hit 200 yet? No,
he's just catching. Number 2 is Pat Freiermuth.
Number 2 is Pat Freiermuth. I'm saying MVS, which shout out to Calvin Austin, missed 2 games and still be number 3. I'm saying MVS is the second leading receiver on the Pittsburgh Steelers by the end of the season. That is my bold prediction where we sit here today. And that is not a compliment.
No. Are you sticking with that 395-ish range, knowing that Freiermuth has 227 yards receiving?
We'll go 450. We'll go 450.
Whoa, calm down, dude. Don't want to have 2 all pros on the outside.
That's what's going to happen here. It's a disappointing day for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's a disappointing day knowing Mike Tomlin went up there. What was your confidence level when Mike said that? Was it 10? Mine was a 10 leaving that press conference.
100%. I was talking a big game to my dad. I was like, oh, here we go. I was like, it's about to be a fun afternoon. You're going to watch your son work. like we're gonna and was not the case at all. So
No,
yeah,
you
the
guys
confidence
had a
level
good.
shot up, went back down, had a good lunch. By the end of lunch, I was like, Pop, this is not gonna do jack.
This isn't what we thought it was going to be. I thought me and you, we were supposed to have a real hectic afternoon here. Instead, we're eating sandwiches and we're enjoying ourselves. And let me tell you, if we wanted to go for a walk, we could. We got plenty of time. I was 100% confident leaving it. I all day long heard how the Pittsburgh Steelers want a wide receiver and were actively shopping for a wide receiver, and then nothing. I never even heard word that they got close to something, which is just crazy to me. Just crazy to me. All right, let's pivot from this and talk about an addition that they might actually make here, because this is, if we're gonna save the show, we might as well just save it here. Let's at least give some people something to smile about, feel hopeful about, and we're not going to do it by saying things like, we'll see. I like shopping. No, Steelers hate shopping. They don't even. Mike Tomlin's a classic window shopper, dude. He's like, nope. Mike Tomlin's at a car lot and he goes, let me see the 2013 sedans. I would love to see. You got any Priuses back there from 2005? That would be awesome. That would be awesome. That's what he's looking for. I want 3 tires, barely goes 0 to 60 in 12.2 seconds. That's what he's looking for. That's his whole life there.
Give you that triangle. You got that triangle car?
Got that triangle car? Yeah. No, all-wheel drive, way too fancy for me. No chance about it. Maybe they shift focus and they go somewhere different. Maybe that somewhere is the free agency market. And I will say that it's not a wide receiver, but it could definitely be a splash. Do you think that there's a possibility that the Pittsburgh Steelers go after Asante Samuel Jr., who is now, as of last night, officially cleared to play and has interest, reportedly, from several teams?
I surely hope one of those teams interested is the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think another cornerback addition would be huge. And we got into this a little bit yesterday. One, because they need help in the passing defense more than any part of their defensive game. This is very well known, well documented. But Jalen Ramsey's performance at free safety against the Indianapolis Colts seemed to me like a turning point for him and for where the Steelers can utilize him best in this defense. So having another cornerback to add to that mix to take even more pressure off of the need to have Jalen Ramsey as a starting outside corner, that I think is worth going into an investigation a little bit further. And they've had interest in Asante Samuel since he was coming out of the NCAA. And so I think it would be a really good idea, a nice sort of full circle moment for the Steelers again, and while fitting into the way they sort of operate anyways, where they will bring in players that they've had a previous interest in. I think the Steelers should be pretty aggressive in going out and getting Asante Samuel, adding to their cornerback room, and seeing if it can just sort of help the secondary overall and help keep Jalen Ramsey at the free safety position, which I think was really, again, unlocking something pretty dynamic for the defense.
Yeah, I, for one, am excited to see Jalen Ramsey stay at safety. I hope that's a long-term fix. Like, I hope the Steelers are saying, let's just keep him there. We'll see what happens. And for right now, it's working. Don't fix something that's not broken. Asante Samuel Jr., in my eyes, is going to be cheap, and he's going to be a one-year deal. And that's what you're looking for. Teams will have interest. You're going to have to persuade more than outbid for an Asante Samuel. You're not looking at it going, oh, we're going to give you $10 million. No, you're just looking at it simply going, you need to come here because we're an actual contender. And I don't know who else is interested. I don't even know if the Pittsburgh Steelers are, but they should be, because he fits the bill of exactly what they're looking for. That allows Brandon Echols to go to the outside and compete with Darius Slay and take a lot of weight off his plate, move inside when needed, let James Pierre play a very minimal role, allows you to have a guy where Jalen Ramsey, if need to play corner, can play on the outside and the inside again without much pressure, because right now it's Brandon Echols is the starting slot. And when you move him outside, you have nobody in the slot unless you move Jalen Ramsey down and then you take him out of safety. I would love Asante Samuel Jr. on the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think he fits the secondary for exactly what they need. Again, I think he's going to be cheap. And I think that you bring him in here, you let him learn for a couple of weeks while everybody's getting healthy, and then you let him loose and you allow the defense to kind of figure itself out right in a key part of the season where you could look at it and say, look, we have 4 or 5 games left before the playoffs, because it's going to take a couple of weeks for him to get involved and to get up to speed, especially if he hasn't played football. And at that point, you are a part of the team. You're a part of the defense. I just think that works out perfectly for the Steelers in the long term. Nothing short term, obviously, but that's fine. You're 5-3. You're first in the AFC North. Just get to the playoffs and get yourself to a situation where he could contribute. I think it's the perfect fit for the Steelers. Do you have any confidence level it's actually going to happen?
I actually do. Despite the doom and gloominess of the earlier part of this show, here's your smiles, here's your optimism. I think it's fair for the Steelers to still pursue any sort of outside improvements that are available to them. If adding to the secondary through free agency via Asante Samuel Jr. is the way to go, I think the Steelers are still very much open to those moves, even though they stood pat at the deadline. I think they still have it. They still. I cannot discount them so totally for them to actually think that they have no issues to address beyond the deadline for their remaining regular season games. That all being said, I think they look at Asante Samuel Jr. and I think he fits a lot of what they want and a lot of what they need. So yeah, I'm confident. I'd go 6 out of 10. I don't want to say. I just think that you said they need to persuade him. I think the opportunity to play is a very real advantage that they can offer to Samuel, and they can be like, look, you have a veteran Darius Slay who's not playing well. All you have to do is really show up. You probably can bump him down the depth chart. We have a specific role in mind for Brandon Echols that you can really help us. You can help him achieve by coming in here.
Yes.
So again, if it's not about money, if it's about trying to revive the NFL career and getting a chance to play, Pittsburgh sounds like a pretty good destination for Asante Samuel. So 6 out of 10. We'll see.
I will say you were the only person who called no trades going up to the trade deadline. You could say back in July, you were saying Steelers aren't going to trade for anybody. It's not going to happen. And I will say was it the trade? Did we have a deal on the trade? I'm not going to bring it up because I think I lost. I'm hoping. Me neither. I hope I didn't just screw myself there. I am hoping that you're correct on this one too, and I have a feeling that the Steelers are at least going to be interested. Now, you can't guess on whether or not they're actually going to land him because that's Asante Samuel Jr.'s decision, but I do think that the Steelers would be foolish not to at least make a phone call and say our defense is banged up and we've been aggressive to this point in adding guys left and right, but now we're going to stop when the best name is available. Like, oh, don't worry. We went out and got Jabril Peppers and Chuck Clark, but we're good on Asante Samuel Jr. That seems totally fine to me. No, don't end there. Keep going. And I would hope that the Steelers continue to pursue that defensive need. And with me, I think that there's an actual possibility. I agree. I definitely agree. All right. That's everything on our agenda today. We're going to take a quick break. On the other side of it, we're going to start answering all your guys' questions. So toss them in the chat. We'll be right back.
Pittsburgh, this one's for you. From the voices behind all Steelers talk comes Black and Gold apparel, your go-to for bold, fan-driven merch that reps the city, the Steelers, and everything in between. Whether you bleed black and gold or just love that Pittsburgh grit, we've got something for you. It's more than a podcast. It's a community. And thanks to your support, we're proud to bring the passion from our mics to your closets. Gear up, stand out, and show the world what real fans look like. Shop now at blackandgoldapparel.myshopify.com.
All righty. Shout out to our members. Shout out to our super chatters. Can't thank you guys enough. Before we get going here, please hit like and subscribe on the channel. We can't thank you guys enough for doing that. When we hit 60,000, we got a giveaway to do. And I'm pretty excited for this giveaway. It's sitting right over there. And look at, I'm not going to say it's a good one, but it's a pretty good one. It's a pretty good one. So super pumped. Before we get going, we did miss Enigma After Dark's question yesterday. Appreciate you, my guy. Apologize that we didn't get it. The question was, has your record prediction changed? I think that's a better question for today, to be honest with you. Has your record prediction changed for the Steelers? The last time, I got him here somewhere. Don't even worry about it. The last time we did this, you were 11 and 4, 12, 13 and 4, 13 and 4. I was
so bad.
What was that? 15 and 3, something in that ballpark.
No
14 and 3, 14 and 3. I had 3 losses on the season. It was a bad time. Has that changed, my friend? Has it changed?
Oh God, yeah. They are 11 and 6, 10 and 7 for sure. There's no doubt in my mind. No doubt, no space for debate. You say more than 11, you're wrong.
I think the Steelers go. I'm going to be that guy. I think the Steelers win 12 games. I think they win 12 games. And I think they win the ASC North. I do. I don't think it. I think it got worse, significantly worse. But I'm gonna go 12 wins. I'm gonna go 12 wins and feel good about it. Feel real good about it. Shout out my guy. What would that be? 12 and 5. 12 and 5.
12 and 5. Yeah.
What are they? They got 2 more games. We're gonna hold to it. It was my gut reaction to say, if you're going 11, I got to go 12, and I got to stick to it. Shout out to Rasta Pasta Salad for gifting 5 All Steelers Talk memberships. And shout out to Eddie the First for doing the same thing. Appreciate you guys. Can't thank you enough. If you do snag a membership, make sure that you're calling in to the call-in show tomorrow. I'm pretty excited for it. Duffy Buckets, tell me teams were charging an Omar tax for everyone he made calls on. I hope that's the case. A lot of blame and talk on Tomlin here. What's your disappointment level in Omar Khan after the offseason? Like, that's the big picture of this, is the offseason that was, where it included Aaron Rodgers and Jalen Ramsey and DK Metcalf and getting rid of Minka and Jonnu Smith and all these crazy names, right up to Kyle Duggar coming a week ago to walk away there with nothing. What's your disappointment level just in Omar?
10 out of 10. Entire season. Because it doesn't even matter. You know, if they go into wild card weekend, get stomped out again, it makes no difference. It does not matter that they brought in Aaron Rodgers and Jalen Ramsey and DK Metcalf during the previous offseason. It makes zero difference. The needle has not moved. The team is not any closer to a championship window opening. They remain stuck in this mediocre average place, and there's no end in sight. If that is the result that we are heading towards, I hope I'm wrong, but I'm the most disappointed that I could be in Omar Khan, because if you're going to go all in starting from the summer, how do you again stand pat at the last possible moment to continue that all-in effort? The all-in effort was to get to 11 wins, and that's a wild goal in my mind.
That is a very wild goal. Chris here. Guys, I want us to sign Asante Samuel. Your thoughts? I apologize that we did go through this, my guy. I will say Jacob did a sound, you said a 6 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say 6. I like the 6. I think the 6 is a good number. I think there's a 60% chance the Steelers end up with them. A lot of it is not on them. I think there's an 80% chance they make an offer. I think they're absolutely nuts not to. If there is anything that comes out that the Steelers weren't even interested in his talents, we got to have a very aggressive conversation on the show. Very aggressive. LT Mac, it's wild the difference between you guys and Jack Sperry's take on this. Shout out to Jack Sperry. Yep. Hope he's doing well. Smooth as Buddhist. Hot take. Steelers didn't let us down. I actually believe with good coaching, this roster is enough. They had their prices and didn't overpay for anyone. Wide receiver 2 would be nice, but not necessary. Smooth as Buddhist with the hottest takes on the Pittsburgh Steelers internet this season. Some of them are coming true. Some of them I disagree with. My thought on this one is that if you are trying to win a Super Bowl, I don't care about next season. I don't like it. I don't. At the beginning of the year, honestly, before the Jalen Ramsey trade, I cared about next season. I said the Steelers are looking at this. They're protecting themselves. They protected themselves with the Aaron Rodgers deal to make sure that they weren't giving up too much. That's why they didn't sign Justin Fields. Like, this was a look to 2026 year. Then you traded Minkah Fitzpatrick for two people who were older than him to say, yep, we're going to make this happen. We are going to go. We are going to do everything we possibly can. Then you signed Darius Slay, and it gave the same message. And my thought immediately was, this is now an all-in season. This is Super Bowl or bust. And if it's Super Bowl or bust, you need another acquisition at the trade deadline. Look at, if the Steelers traded for a corner or an inside linebacker, or they pulled off the ridiculous 7-pick trade or whatever it was for Sauce Gardner or Quinnen Williams, I'd sit here and say they did something. They did something. Am I disappointed in the wide receiver? Yes, but they did something. But to sit here and do nothing, I think that's where I go. If this is all in, the teams that are all in try to make that move. And the Steelers, they did not. They just sat there and did nothing. And I think that's where I turn a blind, or don't turn a blind eye. I disagree with the statement.
I think I've just gotten more and more upset as this episode has gone on, because there's no explanation. I am curious what others are, saying, what other people's feelings are. I feel like you and I are pretty aligned in terms of like what we thought they were going to do. The Steelers did not do on deadline day. I'm sure that there are some others who cover the Steelers who did not expect them to make any moves, and then we're like, well, this is what happens. I'm not surprised. And that's fine. I don't want to like overreact, but maybe I will just overreact for a second.
Dude, do it up.
Does this not sound like the most like sort of like Pittsburgh Pirates way of doing things right now? Like, it just feels like whenever the scrum was around, TJ Watt before the Colts game on Friday, he said something about, it's all lip service if you don't actually go out there and do it. And he was saying that in reference to the defense playing better.
Mm-hmm.
It's all lip service, man. Like, it's all lip service about what the intentions of the team is. Maybe the players within the locker room don't share it, but from an organizational sort of top-down mindset, I do not see an intention to win. Like, there is, and you can say, oh, look at the most expensive defense in football, which sure, but they've already proved that's not indicative of winning, nor is it, and if it was, it would just be correlational, not causal, because it's certainly not how expensive that defense is that makes them, somewhat good when they are good. It's when TJ Watt creates turnovers. So all of this rambling is to say, the way they handled the deadline felt like a revealing of the hand, so to speak, into like, we have no intention to win. We were not trying to win. We were just hoping we could make enough minor moves in this patchwork fashion that it would magically fix stuff. And it just is such a cockamamie way of doing it.
I have nothing to add there. I think that was beautiful. Beautifully, dark for sure, because everybody immediately sitting around going, wow, that was spot on. And I hate that it was spot on. But that was very, 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 very spot on. Smoothest Buddhist has another one here. I think Omar Khan is probably a hard man to bargain with. He knows what he's willing to pay, and he won't deviate from that price. I think their move was Kyle Duggar. That's such a disappointing move to just be like, we did it, guys. Like, could you imagine everybody walking into the front office being like, Kyle Duggar, guys, we got him. Woo! We got him.
We got our guy.
We got our guy. Like, what? No. It's so disappointing, because there were options out there, and those options were reasonable. And again, like, unless the Steelers hit on the 4th round, and I will have all eyes. I will have all eyes on this 4th round pick. But unless the Steelers find the next great 4th round pick in the NFL draft, that guy means nothing. Okay. And he better be excellent. Like, he better be wide receiver 2 material, and not, I don't know, Roman Wilson, who was drafted in the 3rd, or Calvin Austin, who they were trying to get better than, who was drafted in the 4th. Like, just tossing it out there. Like, gotta be better than that. Gotta be better than that. And some guys are. I don't think the Steelers should have just been like, nah, you know what? That's past it's a 4th round pick. It was past your price tag by a round, by 1 round. Just make the trade. Just make the trade. Chris, do you think that Marvin Harrison was one of Omar's targets? I think the Steelers heard rumbles of his availability and made a phone call to check in. I look at it like the Trevor Lawrence situation. Like, at some point, people in the NFL talk. As that conversation happens, you got to do your due diligence. And I think that's what happened. But do I think it actually went somewhere? No. I look at it and just say the Steelers most likely, because I trust Smitty, most likely made the phone call because they heard, maybe he's available. Maybe the Cardinals are trying to get rid of him.
Yeah, I'm sure he called, and I'm sure part of to walk the line, I guess, of logic for a moment. I do think there is a tax on Omar Khan right now. I think there is some hesitancy to deal with him. Like the New England Patriots deal, the trade for Kyle Duggar, it's so low risk for the New England Patriots because at the worst case scenario is that you gave up a player that you were ready to move on from, period, even if he does well in Pittsburgh, right? And they did that for a draft pick in return. So there's no losing there if you're the New England Patriots. However, I think there's a lot of fear of if I'm the Arizona Cardinals, I'm consistently making really bad decisions regarding the franchise. Yes. If Omar Khan is like, all right, I think we can work something out here, it'll be mutually beneficial. I'm so scared. I'm like, that can't be true. That can't be true. So maybe there is some merit to this sort of like Omar Khan expressing interest, the other team being like, we appreciate it, but we just can't. We're not exploring that right now because Omar terrifies us. I don't know if that's what happened or if the case was, hey, is Marvin available? Yeah, for a 1st round pick. And then Omar hung up. I don't know what happened, but it's got to be one of the two and nothing in between.
Yeah, there's definitely a possibility. I also look at Arizona, and I called good old Donnie Droon today when that was floating around and said, would they even consider it? And he said, no. Why would they? They're not a bad team, and they're going to get rid of Kyler at the end of the season and find a quarterback. Why would you get rid of your top wide receiver that you just drafted? So to me, it was like, all right, cool, sounds good. But do I think they called? Yeah, I do. ND Joe, shaking my head like a disappointed dad. Yikes. Yikes. That one hurts a little bit. That one, a little PTSD. Completely let down and a wasted opportunity. No effort to bring the team from good to great. Defeated. I think that's the fan base right now. I think there are a lot of people out there who are saying things like, how did this happen? And where do you go from here? And is it going to fix itself naturally? And I don't necessarily believe it's going to be. But I do want to add on to this with Super Saiyan swag here. Khan and Tomlin need to be fired for this. I don't think that it adds to their fireable offenses. I definitely am not firing Omar Khan. But does this add to your sped up clock for what could happen with Tomlin at some point in the near future?
Maybe ever so slightly. I think it could be something that you tuck into the file of that entire case against Mike Tomlin, right? It's not the thing that pushes the boulder down the hill, but it is one of those things where it was like, well, you chose to take the team in this direction, but then you kind of stopped short of going one step further here along the same path. Didn't really love the way you handled that. So I think it could be another sort of mark against him in that respect, but I don't think it's a huge, okay, the Roonies are like, hey, if Tomlin and Omar don't bring in a wide receiver too, kiss their jobs goodbye. I don't think that's the case. But I do think there is some growing concern about their direction for the organization versus the vision the Roonies and maybe Omar has.
You didn't bring in Jacoby Meyers? Are you kidding me? You didn't bring in Jacoby. Goodbye. Get out of my office. It's been 19 years. That's the final straw here. I think that's where I agree. I think you talk it away. I think it's a pivotal moment that if the season goes in a bad direction, you bring back. Chris, I think we signed cornerback Samuel and Budda Baker at safety. Budda is definitely not available. I don't believe.
I was going to say, did he get released and I didn't know about that?
Yeah. Did something happen here?
Let's check.
No. He's still on the good old Arizona Cardinals. I think it's also wild, dude. The whatever TWSN Sports is the top story on Google right now, and the headline is Budda Baker traded to the Dallas Cowboys. And then when you click on it, it says this is a prediction, not a report. The Right Word Way Sports Network. What an absolute joke. Like, I'll call them right out. What an absolute joke of a publication to do something like that. Budda Baker would have been awesome in the offseason, maybe. In the offseason. But I like Jalen at safety. Keep Jalen at safety.
Yes.
I could see that long term. And I think it could work out well. Peanut salad. Could it be that a move wasn't announced yet? No. They got to be taxed and filed by 4 p.m. And unless something crazy happens here, nope, not happening. The craziest thing that is happening right now is Jacoby Brissett being named the starting quarterback of the Arizona Cardinals over Kyler Murray. Shout out to my fantasy football team. But no, they had to all be filed by 4 p.m., which means somebody would have known by 4 p.m. Ghost. Bigger issue is offensive play calls. Too much pass sesh run parallel to the line of scrimmage instead of going downfield and never pass first down marks. Oh, interesting.
They didn't. Their first offensive play of the game against the Colts was like a 15-yard passing attempt to Jonnu Smith that he dropped.
That is true.
They try to do it. They and then when they don't, they shy away from it for a whole quarter, and then they have to wait until they get 1 4-yard run, then they can try to go downfield again. But once you mess up once, you're done. That's the rule in football. So can't change it.
I think the drops are impacting a lot of that too, because it's drop central in Pittsburgh this season, and you need somebody to catch on to the football. I also think the offensive line pass protection wise is not as good as they are running the football. And if you just sit there and watch them pass protect, that pocket's closing fast. There are a lot of plays where Aaron's getting that ball out in under 2 seconds because, well, he's got nowhere else to go. And I don't think that that's helping at all. I'm not totally in disagreement of this. I think that you could improve, obviously, but I do think that the powers on the field are impacting this more than the play calling, where we sit here heading into week 10. Chris, should we have traded for Jackson Powers Johnson? Yeah, if he was cheap, why not? This is the time to do it. But that'll be available again in the spring. He's a third-year guy? Second-year guy. Second-year guy, right?
Yeah.
Second-year guy. He'll be available after the season. Obviously, his price tag will be a little bit higher come the NFL draft, but draft picks will also be worth more come the NFL draft. So if you want to trade him for a 4th on draft day, people will be like, whoa, there's this guy that I want in the 4th. I'm going to go get him. So would I have done it? Yeah, for the right price tag. Easy. Would it have moved the needle at all for the Steelers? Barely. Of all the things, I'd still think I'd be disappointed if that was the only trade that happened today.
You know who had a really good game against the Colts before he left with an injury was Isaac Seumalo. And it kind of makes me a lot less concerned about the offensive line play in general, but really just the interior and what they can do and just allowing Rodgers just enough time. It's not perfect, but I don't think I would have liked to have seen them add more depth they could reliably trust on the offensive line, but I'm okay with not addressing that position group via the deadline. I think it's good enough. I truly do.
Yeah, I I agree. I very much so agree. In the offseason, I think that'll be available again. Matthew, congrats on another season of mediocrity. Making no moves today showed us that they are not taking this all-in season seriously, and we could be foolish to take them seriously. I agree. And what stinks is that if I had to guess, they're going to go to LA and they're going to win, and then it's going to be like, no, we don't even need anybody. This is totally fine. And then you're going to play Detroit, and it's going to be like, did need somebody. That was a thing, huh? That was awesome. That was a big thing. Or the next time your defense gives up 40 points and you score 33 and you're going, would have been nice. Either one of those would have been nice. I agree on this. I think that's the message that they sent to the Steelers fan base today, and it is a tough message for sure. Potato salad, 4th and a 6th, and we don't get Jacoby. What WTF are we doing? I don't disagree, man. I would have given a 4th and a 5th and said, bring him to Pittsburgh. There it is. See what happens. Doesn't make any sense. Is that the biggest letdown of the day? Was the Jacoby price tag?
Yeah. I mean, that honestly, that and the Shaheed price tag, I think, are both disappointing to see in the totality of the day. And I think if the Steelers were to have come away with a number 2 wide receiver, and then they would have only had 8 draft picks available to them, 9 draft picks available in 2026. Are we really complaining that they aren't protecting the future in that situation? No. Are we really complaining about, their lack of investment in winning moving forward? No. We're talking about how they did not give up too much to bring in a piece to help them for right now, while also maintaining a valuable stockpile of assets for the NFL draft. So I just that is extremely disappointing that there is a world where they could have gotten better without sacrificing the entire rest of their lives. It could have happened, could have been done. Teams do it.
They do it all. The Indianapolis Colts didn't do it. Other teams did do it. Shout out the Indianapolis Colts, man. Took a loss and said, we need to trade everything. Cody Silva, Omar Khan is Mr. Krabs with money and draft picks. Honestly, unless it's just right now. Like, I don't know what's happening, but he's been so aggressive for a year to just all of a sudden be like, no way, dude, we're done. It's over. And it just doesn't make any sense to me. But again, shout out to Mr. Krabs. Nicholas, am I the only one who thinks Steelers defense was still buns on Sunday? How do we only win by a touchdown with 5 turnovers, almost another 400-yard game? I think a lot of that came in garbage time where things were a little bit different. Garbage time, it's a real NFL thing where people take their foot off the gas. Not great. The Steelers do it more often than others. But I'll say this. I'm not, and the Blessed Light tossed this question here, do you think the defense is back on track, or was Sunday a fluke? I wouldn't be stunned at all if Sunday was a fluke. I wouldn't be stunned even slightly. I have no faith that things have been turned around. I just say it was a good example of what they could be. You got to do it 2 or 3 more times before I believe it's real.
For sure. It's not a fluke. They played well. They can play well. Their ability to sustain it and bring that same level consistently, I have no improved confidence in. A mid-season performance that is strong does not convince me otherwise. Now, if they go into SoFi Stadium, go in there and just beat the brakes off the Chargers, come back home, keep winning, it's all, great. Now I'm saying, this defense might actually be legit, and they just need the time to figure out and go through the sort of the bumps and obstacles of a season. But in the meantime, no, it's not a fluke, but it's certainly not a reassuring and the ending of the conversation. It just was a good performance, and I don't think we should overlook it, and I don't think we should overreact to it either.
Agreed. Cody Silva, we want to move up for Kenny Pickett 2.0, which is the most upsetting part of the whole thing is they're not going to move up in the NFL draft, and they're just going to draft another position, and then it's going to be Aaron Rodgers, Justin Fields, Mason Rudolph, and Will Howard, because the Jets clearly said this isn't going to be our quarterback next year. We're getting rid of everybody. Justin, baby. Got his money, coming back to the Berg. Dougie Fresh. Khan was probably trying to get over on the other GMs, and they didn't budge. It feels like if he doesn't win the trade, he's too stubborn to negotiate. I honestly don't disagree. Like, I don't have any idea, but I don't think this is the wildest take I've heard.
No, I think, I think it falls in line with what I was saying a few minutes ago, where I think the reputation that Omar has built, whether it is true or not in the way he negotiates with other general managers, the reputation that he's built is that he is a very difficult person to negotiate with because he wins and he does not really settle for anything other than a deal in which he wins without fail. So I certainly agree with that general sentiment about Omar Khan being true throughout the entire NFL and not just within the Pittsburgh circle. So I think that's probably spot on. I think there were probably a lot of conversations that happened, and Omar Khan did not want to budge on parting with second draft picks in situations or moving past, the fourth round or into the third round, things like that. And then as soon as he senses another general manager trying to push him in that direction, he probably just ends it because he's like, oh, okay, we're done. We're not going to get anywhere close to what I want. And goodbye.
I have heard that Omar hangs up on people quite a bit. That I have actually heard. The Simp 88. Let's just waste Cam and TJ's final seasons consistent. Let's just be good enough. BS. Nobody loses their jobs with 10 wins and no playoff wins. That is the screaming from the highest tower of Steelers fandom right now. That seems to be what is on the horizon after today. Smoothest Buddhist. Damn, Omar is good, but he ain't no boogeyman. He ain't no boogeyman, but and again, I don't know if I'm like as all in on the Omar tax as other people are. Like, I don't know. I think there's a Howie Roseman tax maybe, but Howie Roseman still pulls off great trades. I think we're far enough removed from the Chase Claypool, but I also think that I think Omar needs to win another trade here. You know what I mean? Like, Omar's got to walk away because Seattle doesn't look great. Seattle's not walking there going, oh man, dude, miss DK Metcalf so much. It's terrible. That's just does not feel like the Steelers have won a trade. And I'm not saying they lost that. I'm just saying it does not feel like they have gotten this, I can't believe Omar did that since Chase Claypool. And that's long enough to think that you're still living and dying off of something that happened 3 years ago.
That's very fair. Shout out Howie Roseman for getting Jalen Phillips for a third-round pick.
A third-round pick. Rob Little, I've said 4-3 all year. Herbig on the right, Highsmith on the left. Watt picks his spots. They started to do that a little bit last year. Last week. It wasn't a 4-3, but I like having all three of those guys on the field. I think it works well. I thought Jack Sawyer being on the field in the mix as well too was great. It was. I think that's the way to go if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, to continue to get TJ active and moving around. I think that's what you should be doing.
Absolutely. Don't keep him in one spot. Don't let the offense understand or get a sense of complacency or think that they can pick up on your tendencies. I think that the predictability of the Steelers defense is becoming too much of an issue. And so the moment they slightly adjusted and became a little bit unpredictable against the Colts, we saw how it paid off. So that has to continue one way or the other. Agreed.
Hulk Smash, do you think not making a move was the front office basically telling Tomlin, we have given you everything, it's up to you to figure it the heck out? No, I don't. I don't think that the Steelers, I think the Steelers respect and like Tomlin enough to say, we want to win a Super Bowl. That's why you're here, to go win a Super Bowl. I think it was just plain boring complacency on the Pittsburgh Steelers part.
Unfortunately, I think you're right, because I think it is more has to do with the stubbornness and the overestimation of what they have and the over belief in what they have in the room already. And I think that is the belief that has taken over and sort of guided the team's thinking through the remaining hours of the NFL trade deadline. And they're just going to have to roll with it. They've made their bed, so to speak. So now they're just going to have to lie in it.
I agree. CJ Ross, I had high hopes. Now it's back to depression and clenched booty holes. Thanks a lot, Omar. 10-7 season loading with the first round exit. It's a tough day for Steelers fans, man. It is a tough day for Steelers fans. Poke salad through secondary mistake. Hilarious. Can we even get Asante Samuel, or is that not a quote unquote trade? No, that'd be a signing. He is a free agent. He was not his rookie deal ended last year with the Chargers. He's a free agent this year, and he is eligible to sign with any team as of right now. Bernard, the O's still put up 27 points. They will be fine. Here's the one part of this. I don't think the Steelers' offense sucks. I think this was a get them over the hump to be great. That's what I thought this move was. I don't think this had nothing to do with them not being good enough. It's simply are you going to be able to compete with Patrick Mahomes on a hot streak? I don't think so right now, but that move could have got you closer.
Yeah. Listen, I don't think this team I think this team can make the playoffs, right? I thought they could make the playoffs a week ago, and they generally have had the same outlook. It's just they are not any closer to being a Super Bowl contender. They are the same puzzle put together with just some pieces slightly rearranged or swapped out for other ones that just still fit. Like there's nothing. They are not the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Bills, these teams, the Rams, the Seahawks, even right now, like these teams that feel like they are legitimately within the 5, 6, 7 teams that could make a run. And that's the disappointing part. Like, yes, the offense still is able to compete. Aaron Rodgers is still able to get the ball and move the ball downfield. Is it a Super Bowl offense? Lord, no.
No, it is not. It is not. And that's what today could have brought. Chris, guys, to use a pro wrestling analogy, I expected Omar to make a Degeneration X intro today, but he only gave us a Coco B war effort. I don't know the second one, but I do know the X. That would have been awesome.
Degeneration X.
That would have been awesome.
I'll throw a wrestling reference out there real quick. Sure, the Coco Beware one is great, but I would say it was more like a Shockmaster entrance, because that was just a complete flop, complete flub. And I'm hoping Chris making who made that? I can't see. Who made that
Chris
comment gets the reference and appreciates it.
Heavy D looked decent Sunday with the turnovers, but every game I can't help but think about how we let Brian Flores walk, and he could have done it. What he could have done with this team. Look at Mike Tomlin said himself. I thought 2 things came out in the last week. Mike Tomlin saying, I thought that I was going to keep Brian Flores, and Keith Butler saying Mike Tomlin liked to call his own plays all the time. So I think you put the dots together and you say Brian Flores didn't want to hang out in a defense where he wasn't getting to call the plays, and he wasn't the defensive coordinator, and he wasn't going to be the defensive coordinator. And I think that I don't disagree with this. Letting Brian Flores walk is wild, and still to this day remains something of what could have been. What could have been.
Truly.
Bernard, some D-bag said Russ is better than A-Rod. They're wrong. Shout out to them. And Colin said A-Rod should get all of the credit. I don't think that's true either. Because Jaylen Warren is an absolute stud right now. And he's a stud. I think he deserves at least part of what is happening with the Steelers offense. Smootest Buddhist. Don't think Jacoby Meyers moves the needle at all. I disagree with this. I don't think Jacoby Meyers is the make or break Super Bowl option here. I think Jacoby Meyers is a better than what you got option, and what you got right now doesn't look the greatest. That's my only thing is right now it's DK Metcalf and a significant drop off to Pat Freiermuth, who's your second leading receiver. You put somebody right in the middle there, and I just think it's got to do something. It's got to boost some sort of odds in your favor.
It doesn't make them worse to have a player who has recorded a 1,000-yard season and an 800-yard season in the past 2 years. So is it the greatest addition this team could have made? No. Would it have made them better? So much better. So much better.
Oh, yeah. You said after week 1, we said we'd give up 30-point game. Yeah, I did say that. We're giving up 30 3 times since. Still have Buffalo, Baltimore twice, Cincy, Detroit over under. over under 3 more times in my eyes. Like Baltimore's just getting started. Detroit is terrifying. Buffalo's terrifying. I think there's a shot Chicago on the right day could put up 30. Like, I'd say 3. I'd say my over under is 3 more times. But again, I was very wrong on this defense, but I think the Steelers were also very wrong on this defense.
Yep.
Stephen Cornfield, Steelers have ADD. They have the dream and desire to go all the way this year, but also have no plan or motivation to keep the steps to achieve it. The Steelers do kind of remind me of me, like being like, all right, dude, I'm going to the gym. And then sitting on the couch and like scrolling TikTok and being like, all right, 5 minutes, I'm going to go to the gym. And then like making like a pre-workout and being like, all right, I'm going to drink this. I'm going to go to the gym. And then it's 9 o'clock and I'm like, all right, I'm going to shower. I'll go to the gym tomorrow. That's what it feels like.
And to add on to that, just briefly, you, in anticipation of doing this sick workout, you bought so much home gym equipment to get ready for this. You also bought brand new Adidas workout equipment. You bought your new running shoes. You brought in the best equipment. You even hired a trainer. And you hit the shower at 9 and went to bed. Like that's what that feels like. You're like, oh, okay. So all of the work we did before was just so we could watch from the couch. Okay.
Yes. Spot on. The Simp 88, Harmon being healthy has kept guards off the backers. Again, definitely agree with this one. I think that Derek Harmon has been a big motivation and boost for the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. I think the defensive front against Cincinnati was a problem. I think when they're good, they're good. I'm openly optimistic that things could change, but I'm not sold yet. Chris, Jacob, well played with the shock master. He got it. He got it. Shut up, my guy.
Master.
MVD could have moved one of the tight ends to Green Bay for something. This is spot on. Two things real quick. One, did you see Romeo Doubs definitely think that Tucker Kraft was dead? And two, should have traded somebody to Green Bay for somebody. I think it would have worked out very well. Very well.
You said, did you see Romeo Doubs think Tucker Kraft died?
He's in a better place. He's He's not, bro. He's not. He's on IR. He's in the worst place in the NFL. Like I promise you, he's not in a good place. He's not in a good place. And then he caught himself and went, next question, please. Shout out to Romeo Doubs, man. Shout out to Romeo Doubs. I don't know if Green Bay would have been willing to give anybody up, but I think a phone call should have been warranted. Definitely. Justin Gordon, tired of all of the couch coaches with their perfect scheme ideas every week. Professional athletes are paid M's to make plays. When they don't, cry and blame the coach. Steelers Nations needs to grow. What is that? A pair. It's a pair. Shout out to Justin Gordon. That was awesome. I think a lot of it on defense. Yes, I do think that the players need to play better. I've been saying that. I think some of it's scheme. I think some of the decisions are decisions. I think at the end of the day, there are guys on this team that should not be on the football field and are playing as if they are not on the football field. And some of them are not on the football field anymore. Juan Thornhill did not play a defensive snap or not enough to recognize against the Indianapolis Colts. Just saying.
Just saying.
Dadpool, aka Enigma After Dark. This fan base is so scared. We have a tiebreaker over the 1 and 2 seeds. We were 2 games up in the division. We just beat the hottest team in the NFL. And if it continues, awesome. If it doesn't, you're going to look at this moment as a pivotal one to where the season could have gone and where it did go. Captain Sparky, hot take. I think JJ Watt needs to commentate all of our games. We are undefeated. That one's true, and he's a blast to listen to. So,
love it.
Yeah,
keep it going.
I'm all on this one. All right, little speed round here to finish this one off. Shout out to our girl Maddie. Look who's back. Y'all know Tomlin. Come on. You guys told me not to trust him. They trust Roman and Calvin. Let it work out. We're gonna get Carnell Tate next year. I'll give you half credit here, because You did say that they trust Roman and Calvin. I will also say it's only half credit because Mike Tomlin literally told us to watch. And we got till 4:00. I like shopping. Yeah, and then straight up lied to all of our faces. He hates shopping. He hasn't gone to a grocery store in like 20 years. So half credit here. Half credit. Shout out, Maddie. Welcome back. Hope you're doing well. David, it's a no-brainer now, in my opinion. Do you go and bring back Deontay Johnson? He's our best option, and it's not even close. Yella is adding on to this. Is there no good route running wide receivers in free agency? We need a route runner, which brings me back to Deontay Johnson. They would not do it. It would be so awesome. It'd be awesome.
Don't do this to me today.
Make it happen. Make it happen, Steelers. Nate Moore, are you still taking calls for the call-in show tomorrow? Yeah, the rest of the day, I'll record probably somewhere around 6 a.m. So until then, call it up, do your thing. I will probably get rid of any trade questions that happened before the trade deadline if they don't make sense, to open up news or calls that are coming in now. But appreciate you guys. Pittsburgh Hornets, should the Steelers have traded Roman Wilson away? Not if they weren't going to get a wide receiver. That would you want to talk about it looking way worse. Could you imagine if they traded Roman Wilson and got nobody in return and was just yeah, that was a good move?
You know what? Maybe I'm crazy, but I wouldn't have been that mad. Wouldn't have been oh no. How can they find a replacement?
Even if they didn't trade for another wide receiver?
Yeah.
Even if they're well,
oh man, oh no, how are they going to replace those 8 receptions they've gotten this year? I wonder if they could call anyone else in the NFL or anyone who's ever touched a football.
Deontay Johnson.
Spencer Anderson has a friggin' reception. I bet they can find someone.
Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson.
You stop it, right?
And I got to finish it off with good old shower curtain. Steelers news is waking up on Xmas morning and no Lamborghini sitting outside. Nothing but false hopes. I think this is the perfect representation to say 2 things. 1, the Steelers are still 5-3. Things could happen and go in the right direction, and you never know. 2, anybody who's waking up on Christmas morning going, if Santa didn't bring me a damn Lamborghini, I swear to God. Wild, brother. Wild. I'm man, dude, I hope Santa brought me some underwear because all mine have holes in them, and I would love a new pair of boxers. That would be sick. You know what I'm saying? Not a Lamborghini. Not a Lamborghini.
All my boxers have holes in them, not where I want them to be.
Just hanging out by a thread. My wife asks me every day, you gonna throw those away? No chance. Where am I gonna get the new ones? Christmas isn't for 4 months. Christmas isn't until December, dude. What are we doing? It's July. We'll finish off with Duffy Buckets. Why are you guys worried? We have our wide receiver 2, Roman. Do you see the athleticism on his hurdle jersey loading season? He did look at Air. It was a problem. Air Roman looked way too good the first game, and he needed to try to look better the second game. That's what it came down to. Justin Gordon, Steelers Nation, go seek therapy. Remember, billionaires sign the checks and will do what they want with their billions. Omar and Tomlin have a boss. That is true. That's very true. That is very true. And you know what? We're not sponsored by BetterHelp, but I heard they're good. I heard they do good things. So shout out.
Therapy's the best. I support that every day.
Facts. Big facts. All right, guys. With that said, we're heading out here. Thank you so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/All Steelers Talk. Check us out anywhere you get your podcast. As always, find all of our work, but really not much news today on si.com/NFL/Steelers. Before you head out of here, hit that like button. It does wonders for us with the YouTube algorithm. We're trying to get to 60,000 subscribers so that we could give away, can't tell you what it is, but we're going to give away a little bit of something. With that said, I know it's a tough one, but still enjoy it. We'll be back tomorrow. Enjoy another beautiful day in the Berg.